Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jade, and this is How to App on iOS. And this is the W.A.R.T Series number 4, Anxiety. Kick back, folks. It's going to be a wild one. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. Because I'm not. I'm anxious as all fuck. My anxiety now is absolutely shooting through the roof. And the irony of sitting here talking about anxiety just makes it even worse. Because there's a level of responsibility in talking about things like this, of care and value and danger. Because like about 5 minutes before this kicked off, things were like this. So what is anxiety? Or who is anxiety? Today I'm going to call my anxiety the distant cousin of my imposter syndrome, Trevor. Trevor's my imposter syndrome. So today my anxiety is going to be called Debbie. And Debbie, you can fuck off now. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Debbie. But you know what? Sometimes anxiety is an indication, right? That I'm alive. It's that indescribable feeling that rises up from your guts, hits your chest like a panic attack, and makes you feel like all the eyes on the world are on top of you and you haven't even left your front door. And for a moment, they're going to look away so you can slip out the front door and hopefully nobody pays any attention to you. But then there's that reminder that as soon as I walk out the door, they're all going to notice me. It's like butterflies. It's like a heart attack. It's like crawling under the doona or the blankets, wherever you live in the world, and hoping everything will just go away. Leave me alone. With my avocado on toast. How can I draw it? That's a start. Yeah, that's the perfect emoji. It can be crushing. It can be like pressure. It can be fear. It can be darkness. It can be so many negative things. And for me, it was something I never really experienced for the longest time in my life. I've played gigs in front of 70,000 people to 3 people, spoken at events, traveled, done so many things, and just jumped in with no fear whatsoever, no problem, no anxiety, nothing. But as soon as I got sick and doctors pumped my blood or my body full of steroids and it started to detransition me, that's when anxiety started to kick in about 3 years ago. 3 years ago, big time. It's 2021, isn't it? Let's make that 5 years ago. I started to not be able to control the way I looked any longer. I didn't look like this anymore. And I still deal with it every week with this show by not going on camera every day. It's this fear of having to look back at myself through a camera just gives me utter anxiety. And that's why I only get on cam really once a week. And even that takes so much preparation to get the guts, because I don't look like this anymore. And it kills me, it breaks my heart. It feels like it feels like weight. Feels like I've got butterflies, but instead of them just floating around in my stomach, like nerves, it's like they're chewing into my guts. It's like they've got these monster teeth trying to bust out, cause me pain. I try and tell myself not to worry and just be happy. But it doesn't always work, and that's okay. That's the thing. Because I'm alive. And that anxiety, Debbie, reminds me that I'm alive. You know what always helps? I think back to all those gigs I used to play. You know, back before when we could leave our house. It seems like so long ago. And I actually was anxious before going on stage. I remember now, I used to be quite anxious. I used to get those feelings of dread before I went on. Sometimes it was the day before, sometimes it was just before I went on stage, but they still were there. They came for a period of time. And what I remember now is those were some of the best gigs I ever had in my life. Possibly some of the best performances I ever had was when I was the most anxious. When I was freaking out the most, when I was panicking the most. Those were the gigs. Those were the gigs that stand out in my mind as being the gigs that actually affected people, kicked ass, rocked. The band played amazing. Everyone nailed it. Everyone was happy. People had a good time. But only 5 minutes before, my stomach was twisted and nuts, and I was ready to throw up. And that reminds me of when I was really young. My dad used to try and make me play football. And I used to get these massive cramps before every game. I used to freak out. And so many times I'd end up in a hospital ward just from these cramps freaking me out. And I was thinking, I actually thought I was really sick. And I look back now and no, I wasn't sick at all. I literally did not want to go and do that every week. My dad wanted me to play football, and the anxiety that crippled me so hardcore of having to go and do something that I didn't want to do was just drove me to the point of absolute sickness. And each time I'd end up in the hospital, they'd say the same thing. We can't find anything wrong. But my, how things have changed in the year 2021. Because anxiety now is a sickness. Again, we've moved to this alternate dimension where anxiety is now something that needs to be stopped and controlled and curbed and contained and trapped and squashed. Much like the feelings that it does to us. And we should be talking about it. We shouldn't be. Again, it's a trend that's going to be across all of these videos. And remember, it's my opinion, but to medicate something and control it and crush it down isn't resolving it. It needs to be resolved. It needs to be let out into the open. It needs to be spoken. It needs to be spread. It needs to be shared. Because if it's just being contained and it's just being crushed, it's just meta. It's just us in our houses, afraid to leave those doors, to walk out that door. Walk out that door. Walk out that door. Walk out that door. So not only are we in these four walls afraid of what's outside, what's judging, what's the unknown or our perceived known that's going to get us when we get out there. Now we're trapped inside with this medication that's controlling it even further and boxing it down and crushing it down even further, and the walls continue to close in and in and in, and instead we have opportunities like this, like the internet, to actually talk about these things, to actually get it out there. So I'm going to ask you, what raises your anxiety? Feel free to put it in the chat while I say hello to you all. So what is it? Don't be afraid to let us know. Because I'm telling you what does it to me. Tom Rochelle says everything. Ed B says finances. It's unbelievable, isn't it? Finances, a monetary system that's based off nothing, that has no real value compared to human life. But it controls human life. How does that work? Jessica Jance is going to Clubhouse has me sweaty. We haven't even turned on the sauna yet. Daryl says, anxiety trigger, the thought of not going back to how we used to live in 2019, missing gatherings and loved ones. Well, you know what? We're going to go back. We've been in this situation before as a species, with less technology, less of everything, and we got through it. So, look at the past. Adam Burst says, even tiny changes make me anxious. As I'm someone that runs on a routine with COVID lockdowns, etc., I've been feeling full of anger, which is what anxiety turns into. Well, I hope you're making music, Adam, because I'm sure there's going to be many of us here whose anxiety can be somewhat soothed through creativity. And yes, I do understand that sometimes the creativity can lead us to a little bit more anxiety, you know, and then it can lead to our distant cousin Trevor. I can hear Debbie knocking outside. Debbie! Fuck off. She's trying to come back. Doug says the internet buffering. I had anxiety with you, Doug, today. I did, I swear to God. Gary Hub says, not meeting my expectations of myself. Yeah, man. We put so much pressure on ourselves in so many ways. Creativity, job, the way we look. Like everybody expects all this of us. And at the same time, here's the thing. And what I'm getting to by asking you, I'm going to get through everyone here. Everybody's the same. We're all sitting in our houses, all living in fear of each other. All of our anxiety is over the anxiety of others' anxiety. It's just a spiral. Everybody's anxious over each other's anxiety. Why? Because we've been trained not to talk about it. It's a shame. It's like some nasty little secret we have to put in the corner. Like me growing up being trans. You can't do that. That's wrong, man. That's wrong. What will people think? Fuck what people think. Most people are feeling exactly the same way as you. Scott says, I'm not good speaking to a group of people. I'm usually good one-on-one, but in a group I suck. I'm pretty sure I've heard you in a group. I haven't heard you suck yet. So, I don't know. Is that something that I'm waiting for to come? Thomas Gillane says a lonely future. Well, loneliness. That's a good topic. Let me write that down. Maybe that's another show coming up, Thomas. Rick Lisk says anything that is scheduled, the build-up kills me. Yeah, look, that's what today was for me. Absolute build-up. Not knowing what was going to happen. Not knowing what I'm going to say. Not knowing how it's all going to go. Or where it's going to go. Or if it's going to work. Or if you people think I'm just talking shit. Because most of the time I am. But you know what? I'm talking. And that's what it's about. I'm talking. I'm getting it out. I'm releasing it. And that's what it's about. Release the butterflies that make up the anxiety in our stomachs. Release them. Let's set them free. There are other people, like-minded people, feeling the exact same way. And it's probably one of the keys for us all to start reconnecting again. We have the opportunity right now. We are living in a world that is locked down. At least we have this medium to actually connect to each other. There are opportunities to maybe break through some of this anxiety, through some of the depression, through some of the misery that people in power continue to wreak havoc with. Wall says mortality sucks, but I think getting old takes some of the pressure off. I find myself not caring what other people, family accepted, think of what I do. When I'm old, shall I wear purple? Yeah, man, fuck what people think. Auntie G says live gigs are always tough one, but it's a love-hate relationship. Yeah. I'm going to touch on that right now for a minute. Live performances, putting your music out there. I'm sure, look, it's another thing that we all deal with. I deal with it. It doesn't go away. But you know what I always think of? Some of the best artists in the world and some of their greatest performances that have been captured on film or that people have seen live in the moment without cameras. Those artists, before they went on stage, were shit scared, shaking in their boots, were freaking the hell out. Think of Woodstock. Think of Jimi Hendrix going on stage. Maybe Woodstock's not a good example because of the drugs. But you think of some of the greatest performances of artists' careers. I guarantee you, those artists beforehand, no matter how many times they've played these big gigs, small gigs, done all these things with their careers, that anxiety is there. Look at performers like Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga continues to cancel tours because of her anxiety. This is somebody who people think has the whole world in her hands. And she's absolutely shit scared to leave the front door sometimes. So much so, it destroys her career and she has to pull out of an entire tour. I often think of artists like that because it just shows that, yeah, we're all the same. We're all dealing with it. It's just how we're dealing with it that's wrong. In my opinion. Scott says, I get anxiety with Clubhouse. I feel like I'm stupid and I don't make sense. I'm easier collecting my thoughts and writing. On the spot, I feel like an idiot. Well, I haven't experienced that at all with you. So, feel free to remove those feelings. Because it's this thing again. We talked about this last week. It's this brain, man. Look at it. It's this brain. It's always sending signals, firing electricity, confusing us. Clouding our judgment. Don't worry, be happy. Kim says aging. That I accidentally ripped off other people's music. This work call I'm supposed to be listening to. Work. Yeah. I can identify with absolutely all of them. I'm sure everybody else can. This is a thing. I'm absolutely positive everybody's identifying with this. Anybody who's sat in Clubhouse, I'm seeing Clubhouse come up a fair bit here too. I'm facilitating those rooms. Exactly like what I'm doing now, going, holy shit, yay, yay, yay. Why is anybody listening to me? Aging Kim, you can't help. Just enjoy it. Enjoy the wrinkles. They're good fun. They add texture. Sai says, suffered from imposter syndrome for many years. I try to avoid groups of people. Fear of not being any good. You know what? They're all trying to avoid you because they're scared that you're going to think that they're not any good too. This is the thing. I'm going to go back to this. It's just this entire planet of everybody living in fear of what everybody else thinks. We're all carrying around a Debbie on our backs. It's time to send Debbie to the shed with Dean. Shouldn't say that. I'm glad to hear you're still making music, Adam. Deep Gravity says, I only recently found out that the band I was kicked out from in the 90s, I was kicked out for being better than others. That's when it started for me. Man. And this is the thing, we carry this stuff around and we're not using it to its full potential. Anxiety is a thing that we can actually manifest from. It's like fire under our bellies. It's exactly that thing that I said that I recall jumping on stage. It's that, oh shit, I got to go on stage. I don't really want to do this, but it's that is the flame that shoots you to the moon if you allow it to. It's rocket fuel. It's actually something you can use to propel yourself to places you never really thought you could go. For one, out the front door. Sai says, I thought that I was brought up believing that perfectionism was something to strive for. Only when I was ill a few years ago I realized that trying to do everything to perfection wasn't realistic or healthy. Yep. It's best to be imperfectly perfect. Dean says, I live with someone with an anxiety disorder, and there are times it raises my anxiety. Of course it does. I'm interested to know, and if you are unable to talk about it there, what we are doing, folks, is we're moving to Clubhouse after this for a debrief. So if you are a member of Clubhouse, or you aren't and you would like to, reach out to people in the chat, because some people have invites and they may help you get an invite into the chat. We're going to have a debrief, so if you want to talk about it more there, you can, because I'd be interested to hear more about that situation, Dean, from you. Russ says, I realize I'm lucky because I usually don't give a fuck. I think we need to make Russ a speaker. Definitely. Lady Rodeline says, I can relate. My husband has bipolar and anxiety. He's going through an episode at the moment. Man, I'd be interested to know how you deal with these, how you deal with this stuff. Because I don't have all the answers. I don't proclaim to or anything. What this is about, this show, is just to get it in the open, because we talked about this in Joey's thing on Clubhouse yesterday. It's like a fart. It's better out than in. It's better talking about it than keeping it in and holding it in and getting those cramps in the guts, because that's what it is. Again, staying in that house, medicating, crushing, compacting it, and not ever like expanding it and let it rolling free amongst others and discussing it and get out. I'm going to keep going back there because it's important. It's more important than medication. It's more important than anything else to actually understand that we all are dealing with it. No, I haven't smelt your farts, Doug, but Joe's described them in chat and they sound terrible. They sound worse than my anxiety. In fact, if I was around them, I think my anxiety would go through the roof. So look, go easy on yourself, folks. Go easy on yourself. Remember, it's a part of you, anxiety. It's a part of your living organism. It's another one of the emotions. We talked about emotions in the last episode of this. It's just another facet of who you are. Embrace it. Don't feel like you're alone, because you're not alone. You're not alone. We're not alone. We're all together. Even though we seem like we're separated at the moment, those times aren't going to last forever. And I believe that we can come out of this a lot better than before we went into this lockdown. This is the opportunity to really think about all this stuff, really talk about all this stuff, really get this stuff out, so by the time we're able to engage again with each other and physically touch each other and see our loved ones and do all the stuff that people class as normality, maybe the normality will be that we can actually start opening up about this stuff and not compacting it, not crushing it down and treating it like an illness and that we're all sick and we all need help. That's what I hope. Lady, look, I probably haven't got to everyone's comment. I haven't said hello to you all today, but Lady Rodeline just said it right there. Talk to someone. We've got a good community of people here, and it seems to be growing, and we have a space where this can be done. Sure, we're on the internet in front of everyone right now. Anyone can come into here right now. And here we are, openly just talking about this stuff. This is the way. So thank you for indulging me to just get this out there, get this in the open. Because that's all it's about. I don't have a cure because it doesn't need to be cured. It just needs to be discussed. It just needs to be talked about. And we just need to understand. Be kind. Realize that we're all the same. Underneath this skin, underneath these hairdos, eyes and all this stuff, we're all feeling it. We're all feeling it. Don't listen to the bullshit in the world about feelings are full of crap. Shouldn't express your feelings. They make us up. It's who we are. It's what makes us human. So there's a link up the top of the chat which takes you to our Clubhouse meeting. If anybody has a Clubhouse invite, let people know in the chat if there's somebody who wants one. See if you can work out a way to send it to each other, maybe via email. The problem is with Clubhouse, we have to collect a mobile phone number to send you an invite. If you're unable to get one today, there's if you join the Create, Record, Release group, there's a thread in there talking about it, and you can connect with people. If you join the How to App We All Rise Together Facebook group, there's a thread in there as well that you can join the group and we can share the details. It's going to kick off in about 10 minutes. And so I invite you, if you're already on Clubhouse, and if somebody can work it out with you. See, Russ has got a few, Gary Hubbs has a few. I know I have 3, but I got to prepare the stuff. So, and all it basically is a debrief. So if you can't make it for today, well, we'll be doing this again. It should be pinned to the chat. Let me should actually be pinned to the chat up the top. I can't actually. Let's see if I can grab it. I don't think I have it open in a window. La 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 la. Yeah, it's pinned to the chat. If you miss out today, we're going to be doing it after interviews going forward, hopefully, because it's a really good community. It's an audio chat room, and you can actually take the mic and talk about this stuff. I thought I'd try it out for after this show today, just to have a debrief, because these can be pretty heavy. They're heavy on me. I don't know, they're possibly heavy on you as well. So if you want to come in and just listen, that's cool. If you want to come in and talk, that's cool too. We'll invite you up onto the stage and you can talk. I'm going to leave you today with this music that you've probably heard playing today. And I'm going to leave you with the original version because I think it's beautiful. And I want you to pay attention to it because it comes from somebody who I respect and love. And most of you know, love and respect too. You may have already picked out what song this has been playing all the way through here. Let's end on that. I hope you'll have a wonderful day. I'll see you over at the Clubhouse. And be good to yourself. Give your anxiety a name. Because we're all dealing with it. Go easy on yourself. You're awesome.
say the time for hope is gone and there is nothing left to comfort in the end. And you say, even when you're feeling good, that something else will come around the bend. And I'm always thinking, always trying to hold on. And I always fear that something else will go wrong. It's wrong. You say, even when there's good things happening, the party will be at an end real soon. And you say, you might be happy now, but I've a million ways to open up the wound. And I'm always hurting, always trying to hang on. And it's hard to see this feeling might be wrong, and it might be in my head, but my heart is racing and I'm scared. And I take a breath and try to see you're not real, you are just anxiety. You say you never get away from me, you might as well just settle in and deal. And you say you're stuck with me forever, this will always be the way you're gonna feel. But I don't believe you, I can still carry on. And I realize now this feeling is just wrong. And I know it's in my head, and my heart is stronger, I'm not scared. And I take a breath and know it's me. I'm not you, you are just anxiety. Walk right out the door. 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 Walk right out the door.
Fuck off, Debbie!